The Timbers' trip to Minnesota brings a couple of tough results and the end to their U.S. Open Cup run. The good news? They're back home, and they don't have to leave Portland for 7 weeks. Saturday's Cascadia Cup clash is the first of 10 straight games at Providence Park, a stretch that will define the Timbers' season. Their captain, their maestro, Diego Valeri, is our guest this week. It's Timbers in 30, and it starts right now.
This is Timbers in 30, presented by AT&T.
Welcome to Timbers in 30. I'm Jake Zivin. The season started with 12 straight games on the road, 3 months of travel, a few days in Portland, then a flight to somewhere in North America for a weekend, then back to Portland and repeat. So the trips are over now, at least for the next 7 weeks, when the Timbers can sleep in their own beds every night as part of a 10-game homestand. And our guest this week, as we kick off this run of home games, is Timbers midfielder Diego Valeri. Diego, great to have you on the show.
Hello, thank you.
I want to start with what's ahead. And how does it feel when you think, man, you don't have to get on a plane. You don't have to leave Portland for 2 months.
It feels weird, right?
Yeah.
At this point, but it's fine. I think it's the right moment because it's the most important part of the season, and we will be able to, rest at home, eat at home, and then having trainings like at our training facility, and obviously playing games at home, which normally we are strong. So being the most important part of the season, it's great.
You didn't have to get on a plane for the last 2 matches in Minnesota. Strange in the schedule. It seemed as though with the matches very close to the results going a different way for you. What was your take from the 2 matches in Minnesota?
Yes, both very different because the conditions on the first one, it was kind of heavy with a lot of, too hot, and obviously it was an even game. They had their chances, we had our chances, and at the end, obviously the call decided who got the points. Then was like that. I think in the second game it was kind of the same, but I think we, being down in the score, we had to push more for the game, and then obviously at the last moment we could until the last moment we could score a goal, and we couldn't, and we got some unlucky moments there, and that's the elimination system. So both different games. I think we fought hard. The team did a lot of good things, obviously making mistakes, but we were punished a lot about that, and obviously the cause of the referee.
A 3-game week, it's a lot maybe to ask for some players, but would players rather be on the pitch playing games than on the training pitch?
Yes, because all we want is play games. So at the end, having the possibility to play, every 3 or 4 days, or sometimes 2 days, it's the best, because obviously we like trainings, we like to prepare games, but sometimes 2 or 3 days is enough to prepare a game, and obviously most of the games gonna be at home, so it's much better.
Yeah, it's 10 straight at home in 6.5 weeks, so there's going to be multiple of these with midweeks coming up Wednesday, Chicago after this Vancouver game on Saturday. But how important is this will these 10 games be for you guys, and how do you take advantage of the great opportunity ahead?
The most important. It is the most important part of the season, and for us, it's. We have to be very focused in every game, one at a time, obviously, managing and trying to perform on the field in what we prepare during the week or the days we have to prepare the game. And obviously every rival is different, but the last 3 games at home we have showed the way we want to play, right? Being very aggressive, trying to dominate the position, the field, the chances, and obviously the LA game was the best show of it. So yeah, it's very important for us being very focused every game. Don't think a lot, because if we are able to win a couple of games, we'll be very quickly up on the table.
I want to ask you just that, when you talk about the style of the play, and when you go from Minnesota to Vancouver, then it'll be Chicago midweek, very different styles, and whether that's the product of managers now in the league from all over the world. When you look at your style, the Portland Timbers style, what do you think would define the team?
I think we are defined by unity, being compact, hard to break through, and then trying to use the counter, because we are a team that use the counter very well, but not as a strategy, as a way to attack, to be aggressive, and then obviously at home trying to win the position, the battle of the game, being like suffocating the teams, right? If we are able, so that's the way we want to play. Is a way where we manage the rhythm. Sometimes we manage the space, but being very aggressive and hard to break through.
I want to ask you about the Dos Diegos clinic. You and Diego Chara did that for a second time this year. What's that experience like?
It's been great. It's been amazing. I think Diego and I, we love it. We love to connect with kids. This time it was a little different because it was a couple of clinics on a row every Monday, and it gave us the opportunity to teach a little bit more what we want. And obviously, it's a way where we connect with our young supporters, and we love that.
Let's get into Saturday's match, the first of the 10 straight home games. It's tomorrow night against Vancouver. Here are the Western Conference standings entering this weekend. The Timbers are in 8th place with 31 points, just 2 points from the playoff line. Vancouver's had a tough season. They have just 5 wins, tied for fewest in MLS. They're in 11th in the West with 24 points. And this is, of course, a Cascadia Cup match. The Sounders and Whitecaps each have 4 points through 3 matches. The Timbers have 3 points through 2 matches. This is Vancouver's final match in the 2019 Cascadia Cup, while the Timbers and Sounders play on August 23rd. The Timbers on playing their regional rivals is our Advocare training report.
First of all, big rivalry again. Another big match for us. Great that we're playing at home. I'm sure that it's going to be a Vancouver that is well prepared. I'm sure Mark has prepared the game very well, and they have had time, a lot of during the week. They didn't play on Wednesday, so they're coming from playing over the weekend. So they have been focusing on how they're going to play against us, how to do things. So they come in here rested and ready to play.
Yeah, obviously they've had a few struggles in the past couple months, so it'd be easy for us to overlook them and say, we're at home, we should beat this team. But I think that's where we'd cause our own problems. So we're going to have to come in and approach it as any other game. We're coming off 2 losses ourselves, so we're eager to get back in the win column, and I think the boys will be ready tomorrow.
They're a very organized team, which means also they're organized when the counterattack opportunities come too. So we have to be aware, no matter what. I think that at times, throughout the season, we've let our guard down a little bit and gotten burned for it. So I think we have to be really aware of that, especially at home when teams might come in and defend a little bit more.
Our local forward stores look ahead on the Vancouver Whitecaps, who have 1 win in their last 12 games, all competitions, and it came last week against the only team with fewer points per game in MLS than them, FC Cincinnati. It's been a struggle for Vancouver in Marc Dos Santos' first season, with lots of signings not working out. These 2 teams played on May 10th in Vancouver. The Whitecaps won 1-0, but the 2 teams have gone in opposite directions since then.
It's been a tough year for the Whitecaps and new manager Marc Dos Santos. And while we're told the culture has improved from years past, the results haven't. And a big problem is the player recruitment that you talk about, and to look at the attack where they've struggled to score goals. Freddie Montero into his second spell, DP signing, only 6 goals for him so far this year. As well in the midfield, designated player Inbom, South Korean player, was meant to come in and really change things for the team, and he has struggled just to find his way, although he did score a great goal against Cincinnati in their last match. The brightest spot, the most attacking-minded player who has caused problems is the left-back Ali Adnan, who was on loan, and then he's recently been signed to a designated player contract. So a left-back bombing on. He likes to get forward into the attack. That's where they have struggled. Diego, with Vancouver coming in this week, they did take the 3 points at BC Place earlier this year against you guys. What do you expect from the Whitecaps?
Yeah, we'll expect a team that is hungry to take this part of the season in a different way, to change what has been happening for them until now, and obviously having talent to do it. So we have to make sure that we perform, that we win duels, that we are smart and efficient, and obviously trying to manage the game, because they have enough quality to change this situation. And it's a long season, so this part of the season can be different for them. So we have to perform, everyone individually and collectively being strong.
We can't wait to watch you guys play on Saturday night and watch you play 10 times over the next 6.5 weeks at Providence Park. Welcome home and good luck against Vancouver. Diego, thanks for the time. Timbers and Whitecaps, 8 p.m. on Saturday night from Providence Park. Ross, Snap Orchards, and I will have the call on Fox 12+. You can also listen on the radio on 102.9, 750 The Game. Following the historic reopening of Providence Park earlier this summer, you now have a chance to see the Timbers in person. Limited availability remains for select matches, so grab the best seats before they're gone. Your tickets starting at $23 can be reserved at timbers.com. Well, later on Timbers in 30, we're going to take you to the 8th annual Stand Together Week. Once again, a smashing success. And up next, it's the breakaway. The MLS transfer window closed this week. Who made the biggest moves? We will break it down. Old Trapper, Beef Jerky, and the Portland Timbers are giving fans a chance to win a VIP package this season. The grand prize includes 4 annual memberships for the 2020 season, a VIP home game experience at the August 23rd match, and more. To enter and for more information, go to timbers.com/oldtrapper.
Now back to Timbers in 30, presented by AT&T.
It was a big week around the league as the MLS secondary transfer window closed midweek, meaning all of these big moves kind of happening at once. And the biggest move announced is actually one that's not going to take place till the end of the season, and it's actually somebody leaving MLS. Wayne Rooney leaving DC United at the end of the year. He will join Derby County as a player coach in the offseason.
Yeah, I think we'll talk about the good and the bad in the transfer window for DC United. This is the bad. Wayne Rooney made a big impression. The culture in the locker room, Ben Olsen's been very vocal about how he's changed things around. And then look at what he's done on the pitch, 23 goals and 41 appearances. So he'll return to Derby County. He's cited because of his son, Kai, who's the eldest of 4, because of his schooling, and that was at the forefront of his decision. And so it's a big loss for him to go to Derby County without a transfer fee as well. But GM Dave Casper, he did say we got him on a free, so we might as well let him go as a free. So fair enough, but huge disappointment for the league and for DC United to see Wayne Rooney leave.
He will be here for the rest of the season, and DC has brought in some reinforcements to play with Wayne Rooney as they make a run towards the playoffs. Bringing in former Columbus Crew and LA Galaxy striker Ola Kamara. They also traded for Emmanuel Boateng from LA and Felipe from Vancouver.
And this is the good. Ola Kamara, 48 goals in 90 games in MLS, so you're guaranteeing goals at a good age as well, 29 years old. $2.5 million the DC United spent to bring him in from the Chinese Super League. And then Emmanuel Boateng, I think this is shrewd business by DC United. It's very good. 250 in TAM. He's only 25 years old. I think that's a big pickup for Boateng because he's an exciting winger.
So Boateng leaving LA, but the Galaxy made the biggest move league-wide. They signed Christian Pavone from Boca Juniors on loan. He was on Argentina's World Cup team. They announced him in grand fashion as a maestro. He was a rumored £40 million target of Arsenal just a year ago, and somehow it's a free loan until the end of this season. He's not going to even count as a designated player.
But they are talking that if it is permanent, upwards towards $20 million if LA Galaxy do end up signing him. And look, they've cited this as a great stepping stone for him to come here. He's been on the outs at Boca Juniors. He played under the manager, Scalotto, at Boca Juniors, manager obviously with the Galaxy now. And so he has cited this could be a launching pad for him to get across to Europe as well. So big opportunity for the Galaxy as they manage to stay level with LAFC, making big headlines.
Yeah, it's an arms race in Los Angeles. Across town, LAFC paid $8 million for a new young designated player, Brian Rodriguez. He comes from the same club as Diego Rossi did in Uruguay.
It's maybe a succession plan because rumors of Diego Rossi having some clubs interested in Europe, and the fee of $17 million could be paid for Rossi to go overseas. And so is this the plan if Rossi does end up leaving? But this is huge pickup for LAFC, who are already the standard bearer of the league, and for them to add such a quality piece going forward, even more frightening.
The other team that was probably the most active at the deadline was Montreal. They signed a man who was once thought of as the next Messi at Barcelona, Bojan Krkic. He's just 28 years old. He hasn't reached Messi's level, but he's had a decent career. They also brought back this man, Balou Tabla, on loan from from Barcelona B, who they sold him to a few years ago.
Only 20 years old, Tabla, an exciting player. When he was in MLS, he forced Montreal Impact's hands when he wanted to go to Barcelona. Played 31 games for Barcelona B. So for him to come back, he hasn't really got the run of games of late. So it's a chance for him to come back to a club that he knows all about in front of fans, for him to get a run of games and to show his talent off again. And just quickly with Krikic, you look at that experience. Barcelona, he was getting games scoring goals a few years ago. AC Milan, he's played there, scored a few goals, and Stoke City, but he was no longer in the plans at Stoke. And so this is a big pickup and a great transfer window for Montreal Impact.
There he is, their newest signing. Well, coming up later on in the show, MLS picks Ross trying to rebound from his worst outcome of the season. Can he do that? But next, it's Out to Stand Together Week, a week of service for the Portland Timbers, Thorns, and T2 when we return.
Now back to Timbers in 30, presented by AT&T.
Every year, the Timbers, Thorns, and T2 take a full week to focus on giving back to the community. Every member of the organization, from players to coaches to the front office staff, is involved. This year, it was the 8th annual Stand Together Week. 32 projects, 1,000 volunteers. Here's a look at just one of those projects.
Good deal, Jack. Good deal.
We're at Tryon Creek today, which is a spot that I know really well, and here with the Killer Bees from the Thorns, Goalkeeper Union, Britt and Bella. We've got Jack, Nat, a whole bunch of other folks, and we're doing trail maintenance. It's just one of many, many projects we're doing this week. The time, the effort, the fact that every player, member of this organization is involved, the number of NGOs and nonprofits that we're able to help, the number of different areas in the community that we're able to help. You know, it's a show of strength unlike anything else you see in pro sports. And we're putting everything, our time, our money, our effort, where our mouth is here in a way that few do.
Once you get off the main path, it kind of narrows, so we're widening it out so when people are walking or running through here, that they've got a bigger space. So, oh my gosh, this is what we're talking about here. See where it's getting real narrow? Nat's doing a great job of clearing this out.
This length.
Basically, this sharp edge cuts through it and then rake it in, and then we broadcast, which is the fun part. We get to throw it back in. You know, we get all our players, coaches, front office staff, and even some of our partners out here. So it's an extra special week for all of us, and get to do some fun stuff and meet good people. Broadcast.
Yeah, I think the best part of Stand Together Week is the people, the organizations. You just get to get out in the community and get to understand what some of these great organizations are doing, and working outdoors is always fun, so this has been an awesome experience.
It's gonna snap back. Be careful. Watch your eyes. Yeah. Takes us all out. We're given so much by the community, and out of all the clubs, you know, we have such a special place in Providence Park and the support, and I think it's just our opportunity to give a little back to a community that gives us so much.
Something we all look forward to every year, and every year I'm amazed by the size and scope of what we're doing. You know, everybody, every club, every pro sports team out there does community in one way, shape, or form. What we're doing with Stand Together Week is just a whole nother deal.
Well, the Portland Thorns had a midweek rivalry match against the Seattle Reign up in Tacoma on Wednesday. It was scoreless in the second half. Ife Anamanu gets around Thorns defender Elizabeth Ball, and her cross gets knocked down and eventually put in by Rosie White. Seattle took a 1-0 lead, and it would hold up a disappointing result for the Thorns, who fall in Tacoma 1-0. Quick chance for them to turn it around. A big-time match on Sunday, NWSL Championship rematch. Thorns hosting North Carolina Courage, noon on Sunday at Providence Park. Get your tickets on thornsfc.com. T2 also played on the road on Wednesday night at the Colorado Springs Switchbacks. 35th minute, T2 attacking. First chance cleared. Not the second. Christian Ojeda slams it in, and T2 takes a 1-0 lead on the road. Colorado Springs would get 2 straight goals to take a 2-1 lead, but then in the 69th minute, Ojeda again is blast off the crossbar. Foster Langsdorff is there for the follow. T2 and Colorado Springs play to a 2-2 draw. And T2 is also home this weekend. There will be 3 matches in 24 hours at Providence Park. T2, the final one, they host New Mexico United at 6 p.m. on Sunday. Get tickets at timbers2.com. Coming up after the break, Ross versus a Timbers supporter, picking this weekend's matches in MLS when we return.
Now back to Timbers and 30, presented by AT&T.
Welcome back to Timbers and 30 for a final time. We end our show with MLS picks. Tough week.
You're dramatic, by the way. I'm in the out saying the worst week. You're writing headlines like you're in Britain right now.
I'm just telling the truth, man.
You're being dramatic.
Our role is to tell the truth, bring the viewers the truth. 3-3 last week, the fewest correct that Ross has gotten all season.
Still a tie. Still have not been beaten, though, in a long time.
No, yeah, still a tie. It was a tough week last week. Hopefully Ross and Richard Allegretto will do better this week.
Yeah, a couple standouts. Columbus Crew starting to turn things around. They're undefeated in their last 4 games, and they've made a whole list of new signings in this transfer window. So things changing over there in Columbus. I think you want to look at Montreal Impact with all their new signings as well. How many will feature against Chicago Fire before the Fire come in Wednesday to Providence Park. If you look at LA Galaxy, Zlatan Ibrahimovic against Wayne Rooney, that is going to be a big one to pay attention to. And Aaron Long, defender, centre-back for New York Red Bulls, will be staying. A big transfer didn't happen for him, so you wonder what he is going to be like in this match.
Timbers and Whitecaps, Saturday night, 8 p.m., Fox 12 Plus on TV, 102.9, 750 The Game on the radio. We'll talk to you on the TV side, then we'll see you after the Timbers-Chicago Fire game next week, right here on Timbers and 30.
Thank you for watching Timbers and 30, presented by AT&T. For more on the club, visit timbers.com.